Hey everybody. Well, today I thought we could take a look at a really cool diorama from the TV show Lost. Lost was a TV show that started back in 2004, and it lasted 6 seasons, and it had 121 episodes. So, for those not familiar, Lost was one of the coolest shows when it came out. I mean, I was so addicted to this show. It was horrible because every episode would end in kind of a cliffhanger, and it just left you wanting more, and you'd have to wait a week to see what happened. It was kind of a hard show to follow, because even though it may have ended on a cliffhanger, they may not get back to that story for another month or a few weeks. And so sometimes when they get back to that storyline, you had a hard time kind of remembering what happened. But also, the show had, I think, during one of the seasons, had a short season because I think there was a writer's strike or something, and the show would get preempted a lot. So then another week would go by because the show got preempted from for some reason. So it became a hard show to follow, but the show was absolutely fantastic. So the story of the show consisted of this plane crash. These people are on this jet, plane. I can't remember where they were heading. And of the survivors that survived the crash, they crash on this island, and all these weird things start happening on the island. There's this crazy smoke monster. It's like a monster that is made of smoke, and it makes this really cool sound. And then as the show goes on, it kind of takes on like a really sci-fi, supernatural kind of feel to it, and there's all kinds of really mysterious things that happen on the island, and they find all these weird things, and as the show goes on, you have flashbacks where you learn more about the characters. Like, you see, these are four of the characters here, and then you find out that they're all related somehow. They've all met each other in the past somehow, and then they have flash forwards, flash sideways. I mean, the show gets really crazy, and the story is really deep. You had to really follow the show week after week to remember what the heck happened. And so, anyway, it's one of my absolute all-time favorite shows because of how amazing it was. And so now this diorama was made by MacFarlane. MacFarlane was known for making those. Well, he I think he actually broke ground when he made action figures. His became the most detailed action figures, starting with his line of Spawn figures. And from that point on, it's like all the other companies that were making figures had to kind of step up the game because, I mean, look how detailed this is. He made everything look so realistic, and the way everything was painted. And of the Lost collection of figures, this was probably the best one. They had individual figures of these characters. So we got Hurley, Kate, Locke, and Jack, four of the main characters on the show. And this was the only diorama they made. I wish they would have made more because this one looks really, really good. So this was from the ending of the first season, where they discover this creepy thing in the ground, and as they dug it out, it looked like this. It was called the Hatch. They would call it the Hatch. And when they went down inside, all kinds of crazy stuff went on down there. And I'm not going to spoil the show for you if you haven't seen it, because you really got to check out the series. I don't know where you can find it. It's probably streaming somewhere, or maybe you can buy the DVDs. But anyway, let's take a closer look at this diorama. All right, so I think this diorama came out around 2008 or 2009, something like that, is when McFarlane started releasing figures for this show. And there wasn't really much merchandise. And then after the show ended, there was a huge auction through, I can't remember the auction house, but I think it was Profiles in History or something like that. And they sold a ton of stuff, and it was some really cool stuff too. I wish I would have gotten some of the stuff that was on there. But so here you can see some of the detail on here. The ground looks like real dirt. I mean, look at the way all of this is done on here. There's actual dirt on the hatch itself. This does look just like the hatch did in the movie. In fact, this hatch was actually sold at auction as well. I think it's in a museum right now. Here are the jungle. It came with this background. I think, as I recall, you had to put a little bit of this together. I do remember you had to put that background together, the frame in there, and I think part of the thing here goes together. You can kind of see the split right here, and it was really easy to put together. It wasn't really bad. Look how realistic the jungle foliage looks down in there. You got this kind of wood fencing that's in here, and there's Hurley. Jorge Garcia, I believe, was the actor, and I mean, these figures look just like the characters. I mean, you can really see that. There's Kate. She's holding a flame, and yeah, I mean that looks really good. That looks just like her as well. I actually had to glue her down because she kept falling off. And there's Locke. Gosh, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the actor that played him. Terry. Oh gosh. Anyway, he's a fantastic actor. He's been on a lot of different shows. And then this was Jack. He was the main character of the show, and they even got his tattoos on there, which looks amazing. And here they are looking down into the hatch, and that's how the first season ended. Is where they kind of show the camera looking up uh, into from the hatch outside to the outside world, and you can see Locke and Jack looking down in there. And there's a rickety old ladder, and there's a really cool light feature in there. You can see it only goes that far, and I'll show you the light feature here in just a minute. But I mean, everything looks so good. This is so well done. It's just one of the most amazing dioramas that I've ever seen anybody make from a toy line. This is what the back of the jungle background set looks like. So you would actually put this little frame together, and it's just a cardboard insert that goes on there just to show you what that looks like. All right, so I turned off all the main lights because I want to show you the light feature on here, and hopefully the camera can focus in on it. So there's a little switch down in here. When you turn it on, see how that light looks? And it looks so cool. In the dark, it's really eerie looking, and it looks very much like gives that feel that the show had. And you can see how it lights up Locke's face and Jack's face just like it did, because this light just turns on and it's really bright down there. But that is such a cool effect, and just a single LED light down there. But even that looks like it goes way down there, doesn't it? I mean, that is that looks so creepy. I love that. So yeah, that was a really great effect. I mean, it's just a single light, but it really does give that the feel of the show. And I also decided I should probably show you. I just found this. This was a lost card. They had, I guess, these lost cards that came out several years ago. And this one actually, Matthew Fox, that was the name of that actor. So it says this card contains an authentic piece of T-shirt worn by Matthew Fox as Jack Shepherd. And I guess there was only 375 of these. So yeah, this is an actual swatch of Jack's shirt. He wore this distinctive blue T-shirt, so that's an actual piece of his shirt that he wore on the show, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, so Lost, it's one of these shows where some people gave up on it because it was kind of hard to follow for some people, especially with the interruptions. If you could binge watch it, I think people would enjoy it much more because then you can just go from episode to episode. When you were left hanging with some of these episodes for weeks at a time, it became really hard to keep following it. But I was so addicted to it, and many of my friends love the show too, and we talk about it all the time. And the writers of the show, J.J. Abrams was part of it, who does Star Trek and Star Wars and all that. And the writers, I can't remember the name of the two guys, but they were trying to kind of throw fans off because thanks to the internet, a lot of people were kind of guessing what was going to happen next or what something was. And I think the writers were trying to stay, a step or two ahead of what people were talking about on the internet. But the show ended up ending, I think, the way that a lot of people predicted. But I gotta say, the ending of this show had one of the most emotional endings I've ever seen on a show, at least for me personally. I mean, I actually wept watching the end of that show. It was very touching, and it was very emotional, and it was really, really cool when you watch how that whole thing came to a close. And even I remember Jack, Matthew Fox, he was on some talk show the night that the finale aired, and he came out and he was an emotional wreck because he said he watched it because it was live. And then when he came out there, it even touched him, even though he was there filming the episode. So that shows you how powerful it was. It was really, really well done. So, yeah, if you haven't seen the show, you really got to try to watch it. Thank goodness you can binge watch it now. It's probably streaming somewhere. And there was a really fantastic DVD box set that came out that looked like a pyramid, because there's all these creepy ruins and stuff all over the island, and it had all kinds of really cool, mysterious things. The packaging was ingenious. It had like a little black light or some kind of a black light or something where it would show mysterious symbols on the packaging, and then there was a hidden disc in the lid of a map with a map. I mean, it had all kinds of really cool things, just like the show had, like hidden stuff. And one of the most ingenious DVD box sets I've ever had, and it's really hard to find that now. This diorama now, you can still find these on eBay. I've seen them go for, I don't know, they vary in price, anywhere between like $50 to over $100. It just depends, but they're kind of hard to find. They didn't last very long, and once they were gone, they were gone. And so if you want one of these, you can still find them, but eBay's probably your best bet. But it's a super, super awesome show, and I highly recommend it. So hopefully you can try to catch it. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a like. Those likes do help my channel, so thank you for the likes. And also subscribe. And so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks again, and have a good one.